Well, good evening, everybody. We have a Sober Saturday in store for you again with Jeanette and Dan. So I'm going to hop in real quick and get them on. We have some interesting stories going on. We have just finished up a Sober Saturday at 5 p.m. So we have a double header today. So we've been getting a lot of requests. And let me see if I can get her real quick. How's everyone doing tonight? Interesting. I can't seem to find her on here. I did, Sherry. Thanks for asking. All right, let's see what's going on here. Let's see. Okay, I got Dan. What's going on, Dan?
Mr. David, long time no see.
Yeah, right? Well, I'm trying to get Jeanette on here.
Well, these things happen sometimes.
Yeah. I wonder, did she hop in here? I don't see her in the... Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, Sherry. Sherry said she's got a little bit of a delay going on there. All right. Well, hey, we had a great live double header tonight. So that's awesome. That's good. Great news for us. Sober Saturday is going well. So we were able to book 2 people. We've got a couple requests for next weekend too. So we'll chat about that, Dan. And let's just keep it going, man. I think we have a unique one tonight with, oh, there she is.
It's definitely becoming a popular demand. We have requests to have guest speakers every single weekend.
I just shot her over an invite. All right. Let's see. Invite. Should be getting one now. But yeah, it's awesome that we keep getting people to keep asking to join, right? So we're getting busy. We're getting movements. We had a lot of viewers on that last one. Let's see. Did she accept? Accept. Let's get her on here. And it says,
hi.
Hey, there you are. Welcome.
Oh my gosh.
Hey.
I've
Hi,
never
Jeanette.
seen a screen like this. Hi. Yeah. I don't know where to look.
I'm the top dog. I'm up on top. So we still amazing. So welcome. We really appreciate it. We were just talking about our sober lives and how we're gaining some movement. You're the second one today. So we had a double header with Sober Saturday. I think your story is very unique and it's something different. And, I'm a little bit jealous that I didn't have the same experience you did, right? So go on. You can introduce yourself. This is Dan, by the way. So he's part
Jeanette,
Hi.
Pleasure to meet you.
Crew. We started this, if you're not familiar with it, just kind of as a way to connect the sober community. We started it because we were both alcoholics and we struggled for many years. We've had people that are 4 months sober. We just talked to someone who's 10 years sober. So I'm curious on how it is for you and how long have you been sober?
38 years. Yeah, it's been 38 years. I'm 38.
What?
So let me tell you the backstory. You guys can hear me good, right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. It's a little strange because I'm used to looking. I'm going to look there, so I'm not looking at either of you now. But so I have never in my life drank alcohol. We're talking about alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Sober. Okay. So I've never drank alcohol in my life ever. Because many reasons. One is because my parents met in AA, and it was not a good relationship. It was not a good situationship. And I decided that I wasn't going to live that life. I wasn't going to make that same mistake. Number two, I have a very addictive personality. I think, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people do. Not everyone, but a lot of people do. My clients, a lot of them do, because, I work with people with a food addiction,
Mm-hmm.
and there's all types of substances that we can use. And so I just knew alcohol was really detrimental to my health from an early age. I saw, my mom, and I saw other people like around her having a lot of health issues and a lot of struggling, with alcoholism. So, and my mom was definitely an alcoholic. So unfortunately, I saw that very early on. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to ever, ever, ever use that. But I turned to food. So I had a food addiction for many years until I was 26, and we might get into that later. But and now I help women to break their food addiction. So I want to say thank you so much for having me on. This is really an honor, and I can't wait to check out your past episodes. This is an awesome show.
That's very interesting, because we talk about like generational curses and things that get passed down from generation to generation. And, Dan and I are trying to break that generational habit of bringing up a community of people that are around health food and not drinking alcohol or drugs or substance abuse or anything like that. And you've started your whole life. And that is very interesting, because not many people do that. And for us, we've kind of had to relearn how to do things sober. So like going to concerts or going to clubs, how did that formulate for you to be able to have that willpower in order to not do any of those things when you're out? And you're in Florida. You grew up in Florida, right?
I'm from New York. I'm actually born and raised in New York.
Okay.
Brooklyn, New York. And I moved to Miami 3 years ago.
Okay. But still, you're in that scene, that vibe. Like, it's a party town, right? So, like, how did that go? And, like, how do you keep that mindset to not give in to those temptations?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm not in the party scene. I don't know if I'd consider it a party town, because like I don't go to that scene. I'm not into clubs or bars. So I've never had a problem, because I don't put myself in that situation. But let me tell you that it is not exactly easy, because I'm not only, completely sober, but I'm also a raw vegan.
Yeah.
So, that's a little, because, normally I guess, somebody could go to a bar and get a soda, or like, but I don't drink soda.
Yeah.
So, it's even, yeah. So let me just let you know that I've been to bars, I've been to clubs, of course, in my past, in my 20s, and I've been to work outings and like work meetings that have happened at bars. And honestly, what I've done, before I went raw, I used to order a drink because I was embarrassed, because I wanted to fit in, and I would just never drink it. I would just sit there with the drink and, just have it there. And then at the end of the night, I would just leave it there. Okay. So that's what I used to do. And then when I went raw, I was like, this is like, I'm not even going to pretend anymore, because I'm just tired of like pretending that I'm normal like everyone else, So
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. So then what I started doing was I started going to, I had to go to these work outings. And what I started doing was I started bringing my own juice. So I would buy a green juice or some type of fresh juice. And I would go to the bar and I would ask the bartender for a cup. And they would be like, do you want ice? Do you want water? I was like, no. Can I just have an empty glass? They would give it to me and I would pour my juice in there. And I would be there with my juice, my green juice. And like, just like, people would ask, oh, wow, what's that? And I would tell them I brought my own juice. And they give me a glass. They always did. They always bring. Now, I'm not saying everybody should do this, or like, I'm not saying every bartender is going to be nice like this. But I have to tell you, there's always water. There's always bottled water at every single event, at every single bar. So if worse comes to worse and I don't have time to go grab a juice or whatever, just get water. Like I never have an issue. If I'm thirsty, I get bottled water. If I'm not thirsty, I just don't get anything. So yeah, that's how I do it.
How did that, like, how long did it take you to build that self-confidence to be able to do that? Because we've talked to people, I mean, you're not confident enough that you give in very easily to like, oh, free shot, oh, this, like, hey, you should have this, like that social pressure.
Yeah, French fries. I mean, I don't eat French fries. So, and I've gotten a lot of pressure, and we can talk about the food aspect, but as far as the alcohol aspect goes, I just don't, it's not that I can't drink, it's that I don't. That's the decision that I've made. And yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Once you do it, once you say no, once you set your boundaries, once you get a confidence from that, and I know you guys probably understand what I mean, you get some type of self-esteem, like you get like a 1 penny in your self-esteem bank account. You know what I mean? You get 1 coin in there, and then you do it again. You set your boundaries. You say, no, I don't drink that. I don't want it. And then you get another deposit in that bank account. And then after a while, you're like, oh, wow, I'm in charge of what I do, what I consume. I'm in charge of my life. Wow. What a concept. Because I feel like so many people out there, they just go along to get along, or get along to go along, whatever that expression is. And they don't actually want to eat those French fries or chicken wings. They don't actually want to even have a drink. But let me tell you, the other day, and I think I told you this, Dave, before the interview, but I was out celebrating somebody's, she has 1 million downloads on her podcast, and we were out celebrating. And of course, when you celebrate, everybody gets a drink, right? So she's like, okay, so I'll get a martini, and my best friend got a drink, even though she doesn't drink. And then somebody got out this and that, and then the waitress comes to me, and I'm like, I'll take a water, please, with lemon. And then everyone, like, I just met these new people, so they're like, oh, Jeanette, just one drink. You just have one sip because it's a special night. And I just quickly said, oh, thank you so much. I don't actually drink. Like, that's it. I don't drink.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no arguments. It's like people, are so afraid to say that. Oh, actually, no, I don't want one. You can say that too. You don't have to like make people feel bad. You can say, oh, no, I don't want to drink. Thank you so much, though. So
yeah, it's quite an empowering thing to be able to say no like that and to go your own way. But it's really awesome that you've created that culture for yourself, and you're into health and you're into fitness and well-being, right? So like you coach people and you help them with that. So it's kind of like, well, how good of a representation of that would you be if you were to go have a beer or a drink or something like that, right? So
absolutely.
Tell us about your whole story leading up to where you are now, because you said you struggled with food addiction, and I mean, we've talked about that before, Dan and I, and like food is addicting. It is created that way. Like there are people in that business to make Doritos more addictive, to make Coca-Cola, that much better than it used to be. So tell us about your food addiction, because there are people struggling with that as well.
Yes, thank you. And I did forget to say that, well, the third reason I have never touched alcohol is because I don't know if I said it, but I just knew that I would be an alcoholic. I just knew it. I have that personality. So it happened with food. Like I was just a normal kid. I ate when I ate. I never thought about food. And then when I was 13, that's when I started overeating and binging, and I couldn't stop. Like I noticed it was very distinctive because I would have some Reese's Pieces for dessert, and then I remember like when everybody went to bed, I would sneak into the kitchen and like have all of them. And I remember thinking to myself as a 13-year-old, like, wow, what's wrong with me? Like just last week I was fine, and now I just can't stop eating these things, and it continued and continued until I started gaining weight. I started having really bad acne, cystic acne. I started having really bad IBS symptoms. I was always like really having major stomach issues. I started having headaches, and like I was 16 years old at this point, so it took 3 years to really see bad negative side effects from eating way too much. And what happened was that continued for about 10 years. For a really long time. And I was just yo-yo dieting, trying to like lose weight all the time. So going on these crazy diets and, starving myself, eating baby food. I just did everything possible. Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, The Zone, Atkins, like all these things. And then finally, I got a blessing from the universe. I actually stayed home from work one day because I had such bad acne that I just gave up. Look, like with the makeup, I just gave up in the morning, and I was like, I can't do this. I have to call out of work because of my acne. and I watched a show, the Oprah show, and she had this day of like people eating healthy, specifically people eating a vegan diet, and they also featured the documentary Food Inc. on the
Mm-hmm.
show. And I watched it that night. It was the first documentary I ever saw that showed animal cruelty. And from the second that I saw a scene of a cow being like pushed into a slaughterhouse, I was never the same. I was never the same. And honestly, it gives me goosebumps now because I'm transported right back to that moment where like I realized what I was contributing
Mm-hmm.
to. I realized what I was eating my whole life. So I was 25 at the time, and I gave up all animal products. But I didn't know that fish were animals. Like I didn't get,
Yeah.
I didn't know ice cream was animals. So I went about a year. I was vegetarian. I thought I was vegan, but I didn't know either a vegan or vegetarian. And then after a year, that is when I met someone who introduced me to the raw vegan diet. And I was like, okay, let me try this because first of all, I didn't even know there was a vegan. Like I didn't know that it was possible to not eat fish. I was only eating fish sometimes so I didn't die. Because like I thought I was gonna die without mercury and plastics and all the poisons that are in fish. I don't know. We're just so lost
Programmed
nutritionally.
to think a specific way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what's interesting about you, I think, because we have a mutual friend, Sherry,
Yeah.
she told me you've never eaten animal body parts in
No.
your life.
35 years, I've never eaten meat.
Yeah.
So the whole,
Whoa.
being protein deficient kind of thing doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because I've survived 35 years. I haven't shriveled up and died. And I at my worst, like overall weight and health when I was on a vegetarian diet, consuming dairy products, eggs, all the artificial stuffs. I was a chipaholic, so I ate Doritos and sour cream and onion nonstop. Like, so yeah, after going vegan fully, like I lost a bunch of weight, all the symptoms kind of went away, but I was also an alcoholic. So like I did every healthy thing I could try to do so that I didn't have to quit drinking. So I was like, yeah,
Yes.
size and I eat healthy, I still don't have to quit drinking. But yet I was still having like internal stomach bleeding and I was having, vomiting blood. And I was like, man, no, it's cool. I'm vegan. But still drinking until I finally quit drinking. Then I was like, all right, everything else seemed to go away. And it just all the pieces kind of fell together. So it's great. When we're eating healthy, we're feeling good. And is that kind of what keeps you still going?
Well, first of all, I have to interview you, dude, because I want you on my channel. Like, you've never
Okay.
eaten meat. I mean,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like me never drinking alcohol,
I know.
Like
I thought of it when
people can't believe it.
man, are there really people out there that have never drank alcohol?
That's
That's
I feel like I'm the black sheep in this live right now. I mean, I've drank alcohol, I've eaten meat.
but
I'm
you're
the odd one out.
What have you
this
never done
podcast.
in your life? What have you never done that most people do? Hmm.
I always think like, don't do anything that I've done in the past
yeah.
because it'll probably be a
You've
write-off
done
for,
too much.
for most people.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've
you've done it
we've
all.
done embarrassing
We're
stories.
we're all in the same place now though, right? So
Exactly.
we're all vegan, we're all sober. Like that means to me that anybody can do it, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So if there's people out there that are like, oh, I can't quit eating eggs or I can't quit cheese. Cheese was one of the hardest things for me. I was, and I will admit, I was addicted to cheese. Like I loved it. And there are scientific proven things that why cheese is addictive. There are reasons why that if you do the research and you look into it, cheese is designated or designed to be addictive. So we've all been addicted to something. We've all done bad things. But where we end up now and how we're doing and approaching things and giving that service and pushing it forward, serving others, like anybody can do it. So I appreciate you being on it and sharing us and everybody and your story. And hopefully I'd love to be on your show and share what I have to offer because, like I said, I was 220 pounds overweight, diabetic, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, and now I've lost at one point I lost 80 pounds. And
Wow.
and now gain it back in the gym on a vegan diet. So it is possible.
Sherry wants the guns. Sherry wants to see the guns. There we go. I want you guys both on my channel because I didn't know you both were vegan. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Vegan and
I'm
sober.
also
That's
plant-based vegan. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so now what keeps me going? And by the way, cheese, I think statistically, and somebody out there knows, statistically, I feel strongly that that is like the #1 addiction on earth. Can somebody like research that and find them? But like, who's going to admit they're addicted?
Yeah.
Food addiction. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
the
of
most
course.
deadly addiction, actually, because more people die of diseases that we don't have to, you know, diabetes, obesity, of course, strokes, heart attacks, and all these things because of food addiction. And cheese is probably the #1 most addicting substance on the planet. I was certainly addicted to cheese. That was my #1, like, food, you know, like, who doesn't love cheese? I would just eat mozzarella, like a block of mozzarella. I would just eat it like that, like a hamburger. I mean, really gross stuff. But anyway, what keeps me going? This is a great question, Dave. Now I just habit keeps me going now.
Yeah.
There's no decision making when it comes to food anymore. I mean, this is 13 years raw vegan, right? But what kept me going in the beginning was absolutely well, the animals. I will always be vegan. Okay, who knows what's happening in my future? I might eat a sweet potato, you know, you know what I mean? Like, who knows what's happening? I might eat some cooked food one day. But I will absolutely never eat another dead animal's body part because now I know what it is. It's not a burger. It's not a steak. It's a dead animal's body part. And that is not okay. That is not okay. And the other thing that kept me going in the beginning was I really, really wanted my family to be healthy. And I just knew that people don't do what you say. People do what you do. Like, they see what you do. And I knew that if I could lose the weight, if I could clear my skin, if I could get results and feel better, you know, I had chronic fatigue as well. So I was always like tired. I knew that if I could have energy, then maybe my mom and my sister and my family, they would see me and be like, oh, wow, you know what? I want to do this too. And they would live a long, healthy life with me. So I was really like doing it for them, especially my sister. She had a lot of health problems. She had a brain tumor, so she had cancer. And, you know, it was definitely for her. But now it's habit. Now it's just habit. I literally don't think about it. I mean, I go to the kitchen and I'm like, what would I like? But I mean, would I like a watermelon or would I like, you know, what's ripe? I don't even think about what I want. I think, okay, I see what's ripe. You know, what's going to be good? What's going to be amazing? Do I have ripe mangoes? All right, I'm going to have mangoes today.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, I would be like controlled by like, I have to have coffee.
Yeah.
Like I have to have, you know, I have to have French fries. I have to because I'm craving them and I have to have them. And the truth is that like cravings pass, just like feelings, just like emotions. Cravings pass, and you can handle it. You can handle the craving, and then like it will pass, and it will have no power over you if you just know that it's gonna pass.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
and that's
what keeps me going.
You know, alcohol too, and what we went through is it'll pass. The cravings do pass. You eventually become wanting to crave things that are good for you.
So I have a question. So now alcohol, it smells gross. Does it taste good?
Not really.
No.
No.
So why would you crave it? I'm just curious.
Because I told myself for many years that I liked it and I liked the taste of it, but then eventually it became to the point where I just wanted the higher and higher alcohol content just for the feeling. It becomes a craving. It becomes an addiction. It becomes a coping mechanism. It becomes all these things, an emotional crutch. And until you like cut it out, then you realize how more in tune you are with your emotions, with your, you know, mental stability and like keeping that toughness. And I know you're a fan of David Goggins. I've heard from Sherry, and I read his book. I've listened to his audio tape, and like it is just hammered into me like the whole mental toughness thing. So that was a big part in helping, you know, with recovery. I was listening to him all the time. So yeah, it's been great. But yeah, so I saw Sherry had a question in there, and I think that's a great question. Is what motivated you to help women with food addiction?
Yes, thank you, Sherry. She always has great fake questions. No, I love Sherry. She's asking because she knows I want to answer that, which is Oh, Stephanie's here. Hi, Stephanie. She was in my course. So I have a course called the Food Addiction Freedom Course. And yes, it's women only because, I mean, I do have a lot of men that reach out to me. So one day I might do a course just with men, but I wanted to create a safe space for women to share, so that's why it's women only. And the reason that I do it is because I just want to help people that don't know how to break free. Like
Mm.
I wish they say you should create the things you wish existed in the world, and I wish that I could go online and see someone on Instagram or YouTube that's promoting and doing a course for someone with a food
Mhm.
addiction. Like I never saw it. There wasn't Instagram back then, when I went raw, there was no Instagram. But I was watching YouTube in the very beginning, and like I didn't know it was possible to have a coach, to have somebody help me on my journey. I just white knuckled it the whole way. It was really hard. It was really lonely. I separated myself from my friends because I wasn't strong enough to go to TGI Fridays and not eat the potato skins, with the cheese and stuff and the bacon. And yeah, I just really want to help. I mean, it's my life purpose for sure. When I'm doing the course, we meet twice a week, and actually a new round starts tomorrow. So if anybody's interested, we're starting tomorrow, October 8th. So DM me the words "I am ready," and I'll send you the information if you're interested. And yeah, I just want to help people and just try to bless people with the knowledge that I have been blessed with,
Mhm.
because it's not very common that somebody will break their food addiction. Honestly, most people will go, thank you.
Yeah.
Most people will go their whole lives addicted to a substance that's killing them, that's hurting them, that's lowering their quality of life. And my purpose is to help you understand that that substance, that food like substance has no power over
Mhm.
you. And yeah, I'm really big into mental toughness. Mental toughness, that's the reason that I could go raw, because I realized that my mind was in charge. These
Mhm.
cravings are not in charge. These big conglomerates that make these food like products are not in charge. We are in charge. And once you get it out of your bloodstream, you don't crave it anymore.
Mhm.
Like alcohol. Once you're not drinking it every night, you're not craving it.
Mhm.
It's exactly the same. And so, yeah, I mean, once you break free, there is absolutely nothing that can stop you, because you finally are like awake to the fact that, oh yeah, I'm in charge of what I eat. Okay. Like you can, once you get the confidence and you start saying no to the cravings, you start saying yes to healthy food, you get that confidence every single time you make a decision. Just like with alcohol, every time you make the decision not to drink, you get more and more and more confident in your decision making skills. Thank you, Sherry, for such a great question. She has another
I
one.
know.
She has another one.
I'll take on that. I like that, and I just like your whole purpose. And we had this same conversation on our last live. It's there's three pillars to it: path, community, and service. Right. So you're on the path to helping others. You're in the community of helping and the raw community, and then your service is your classes and courses, and you're helping women to break free from these ties. And I think that we follow these three pillars, and we'll be successful in anything we do because we're growing together. And I think Sherry's question is great about the plant-based diet, right? So that's interesting. I already said is like I went plant-based, but I wasn't healing my gut. And once you've healed your gut, your mind starts to heal as well. You've got natural producing serotonin in your stomach, and for years you kill it with garbage food. Like I'm gonna go pick on Doritos again because they use all these artificial ingredients and chemicals and stuff like that. And I love Doritos. I used to love Doritos. So, but the alcohol does the same thing. It kills the microbiomes. It totally ruins your gut, and then you stop thinking logically, and you start having different cravings. And with the alcohol, is flushing it through my system is like it was bad. I was miserable for 3 months, like just sick, nausea, like shaking, body aches, like just
Wow.
disgusting all the time, wanting, yeah, and like just days I didn't want to go out in bed because I was just overwhelmed with emotions. But once I got through that and I started really working on my own self, and I started incorporating more and more health food and I even started going organic and started just focusing more on the health aspect and then the fitness stuff. Like that's just all a thing of the past now. Like it doesn't there's nothing that would ever make me want to drink again because I don't want to poison myself because I'm so used to eating and doing healthy things. And it's the same for you as well. And I don't know, Dan, if you want to elaborate in there too.
Yeah, I just wanted to just thank you, Jeanette, for joining our platform this evening. And not only that, it's just kind of a big rewind to the start of going out for that celebration of like that million viewership or downloading of that podcast, and you're all you and your business associates going up for that celebratory drink. And I mean, that's what it goes back down to is uh, being socially acceptable in terms of that alcohol, or using as a coping mechanism as we would for our alcohol addictions. I mean, in most cases, a lot of people probably stress eat as well. So maybe that's even a form of a coping mechanism for a lot of people, going back to old, thought patterns. So there's definitely a whole mental acuity that goes around that, the neuron inhibitors in your brain. You have to actually rewire and reprogram your brain. And it's,
Yes.
definitely mind over matter, because I myself, struggled with an alcohol addiction for years, and never having any form of counseling or Alcoholic Anonymous AA meetings. It was all a mental step process where I just, I just it was like time to like nut up or shut up. That's like what Woody Harrelson would say in Zombieland. But that's actually how I said that in my own head. But yeah, apologies if it was a little bit too far, but that's kind of my humor. But yeah, I just want to thank you once again for jumping on this our platform, and it's just such a pleasure to meet you this evening.
You too. You too. So wait, it's Dan and Dave.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So, yes. So Sherry's question was, how did the plant-based diet help you three heal your mind, slash overcome your addictions? And so, well, the plant-based diet it changed everything about me. So I don't know how it happened. Like, I don't know what's going on in the microbiome. I don't know what's going on in my gut. I do know the gut and the brain are the first two things that grow as a fetus. And I know they are highly, highly connected. We all know that, you have a gut feeling. We know that when you feel sick, you're not motivated. You can't do anything besides focus on getting better, which is a miracle. Like, the body's a miracle. The body doesn't let you do anything if you're sick, Imagine, like, you're sick, you're vomiting. You can't do anything besides do that, right? So the body is amazing. And I was very, very sick as a kid. I always had bronchitis. I always had, like I said, IBS issues. I always had something wrong with me. And the plant-based diet, or my plant exclusive diet, has helped me to have a life that I always dreamed of, which is a life of having energy, which is a life of being productive and going after my life purpose. And before, it was just survival. I was not living, I was surviving. And now I find myself with so much extra time because I'm not spending it in doctor's offices. I'm not spending it putting on makeup. I'm not spending it, going to another consultation with a specialist to figure out why I can't breathe. I could not breathe when I woke up. And I even had surgery. I had surgery to open up my nasal passages because that's what the doctor said. It turns out I didn't have a deviated septum. I was allergic to milk. I was allergic because I had the surgery and I still couldn't breathe. And it was a lot of money, and like, I still couldn't breathe. And he's like, oh, this happens sometimes. No, I'm not a baby cow, and I'm drinking baby cow milk. And he didn't know, and it's not their fault. They just don't know. So thank you, Sherry. Great question. And it helped me overcome my addiction because, of course, if you are not consuming a substance, you will not crave it. And I know that's easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's why we have, we're doing this show, and that's why I also run my course, because we're not really meant to do it alone. We're not really meant to be alone here. We need each other. We need each other's support, guidance, accountability. And that's why I do my course. So if anybody's out there watching this, this might be your sign that you have to take control of your eating habits. You have to take it seriously before something happens, because you know what? The body's very resilient. But after 10, 20, 30 years of treating it like shit, do you know what's going to happen? it's not going to be happy, and it's going to revolt, and it's going to say, okay, you know what? You don't care about me. I don't care about you. Let me just keep all these toxins and form a tumor. And then what? Then you have to deal with it. Then you have to have the surgery. You have to have body parts removed. And then it might be too late even. So don't wait until it's too late, okay? You want to start now before you have to have surgery. Because sometimes, yeah, it's too late. A lot of my family members have passed away. It was too late. They tried at the very end of their life, but, you know, after 30, 40 years of drinking and smoking and eating fast food, what are you going to do? It's not going to take, you know, a week of eating raw to fix all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, I thank you, Sherry. This is a great question, and I love talking about this.
Amen,
So
sister.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, we
Thank
here
you.
we all preach the same thing, and it's amazing. And it's no one's fault. It's just the lack of education and willing to actually ask the questions and dig deep into that and really truly be passionate about it. And I think all three of us are very passionate about it. And you know, and there's been a lot of turning points. And you know, I lost some family members myself to alcoholism, and it's been a generational thing. This whole thing with unhealthy habits of eating and drinking and binge watching TV and stuff, Netflix, and porn addictions, and like all these, there's so many different addictions because they stimulate the mind so quickly and we absorb it. So we have to correct that course, and we're all right around the same age. So that's great that we're in that same realm together, so we can pass that along to the generations below us. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Well, can I just say, you just made me think that we're all binging on all types of unhealthy things.
mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's alcohol or food or Netflix, like you said, or social media, which is an amazing tool, but like you can have a social media addiction.
Oh yeah.
All right. I should know. I have it. So basically, you know, you gotta take control of the situation, you know. And then the last thing I wanted to say back to Sherry's question, how it changed our mind. Well, the last thing I wanted to say was that I was consuming a lot of fear-based products. Okay, when you are eating animals, they have a lot of fear right before they die. And so you are what you eat. We all know that. And so I was living out of fear. Every decision I made was out of fear. And so you can't be successful. You can't be happy. You can't be productive if everything is based on a decision based on fear. So that's another thing that changed in my life. I became so much more positive and optimistic and less afraid of what people thought of me because I wasn't eating fear-based products. The vibration of fear is in the animals, and you eat those animals. And so, well, nobody watching this, right? But like other people eat those animals. And so, yeah, that's going to help you a lot. When you eat things with a positive vibration, you're going to become way more positive. So make sure everything you eat has a positive vibration if you want, if you want to live a positive life, you know, that's it.
100%. I totally agree with that. I like Sherry keeping it going. Here we go. So what do coaches tell mentally weaker clients? So how do you work with mental difficulties for you?
Oh, you
Because I
want
coach as well. I coach people in fitness, but I'll let you take the reins first on that.
You want the truth? The truth is that I have an application process, and in the application, I can tell if you are a victim, I can't work with you. That's the truth. I can't work with anyone. I don't work with just anyone because I can't. I don't have that patience. I can't be around victims because I don't allow it in myself. And so I don't allow excuses to exist in my life. So if you have a million excuses, then you're not ready to work with me. Maybe somebody can help you. I can't because the only way that I know how to break a food addiction is when you're ready, and you're not ready if you're still using excuses. I don't know what the question was. What was the exact question, Sherry?
That's interesting you said that because
weak
I saw that I saw that today, and it was somebody that posted, and it said I don't show up to motivate. I show up for those who are motivated.
Oh, that's right? Good. Oh, write that down.
Yeah,
that's good.
Good. And I'm like, okay, you're right. Like,
yeah, that's good. Who said that?
Do you know who it was, Dan? I saw it. I think.
I'll just credit you. I'll just credit you. Fuck it.
It may have been Kevin, your cousin.
My cousin Kevin. Yeah, so it could have been him. It might have been Allison as well. I saw it as I was scrolling through stories earlier today, And like, I was like, dang, that resonates pretty well. And that makes sense too, right? Like, we don't show up here every day to motivate the unmotivated. But as we show up each day, there are some out there that are motivated that will see it, and it'll be the right time. I don't know if you said it or not, but when this platform doesn't exist, things like you didn't exist, Dan didn't exist, when I was trying to get sober. I found something that resonated to me though, and it was every single day. It hammered in me. I listened to other people's stories and I just connected. So us talking about this and doing these sober lives and talking about health food is educating, and someone out there somewhere is going to be motivated, and they're going to have that motivation and they're going to see it. And because we show up doing what we're doing, they'll take something away from it.
So the question is, what do you tell weaker, like mentally weak people? What do you say?
I say, what would David Goggins do? You tell him, who's going to carry the boat? Like, I mean, like I said, it's the same thing for my gym. It's like when people show up, they're there to work out, and I'm very approachable and I work with them, and I understand. I'm empathetic in that aspect because I've been there and I've been unmotivated. I've been overweight. I've struggled really hard in getting myself to the gym, and I still struggle some of these days as it is. If I wasn't healthy, I wouldn't wake up and go to the gym, but I do it because I'm disciplined. And so I just show people through routine, and I'm pretty motivated, and I can help people boost their confidence without putting them down. It's a very tough journey, and I think you have to be empathetic.
Yeah, the truth is that we're all mentally weak sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the truth. Even David Goggins, I mean, you're a fan, right? So maybe you've heard him say on one of the interviews, because I've seen everything he's ever done, and he said on one interview that some mornings he wakes up and he just looks at his shoes for hours. When he said that, that changed my life. I just saw that a few months ago. Yep. I never thought in a million years that somebody like him would ever be weak like that. Like, I thought he just woke up, put on his shoes, and got the fuck out the door. But he said hours.
Yeah.
He said he looks at his shoes for hours sometimes, and he just goes, he looks at them, he's like, no, I'm not running. He goes, he watches some TV, he's like, no. And then he finally does it. And, you know, same thing. Like, yeah, sometimes, like, I'm doing this challenge with my community. So I have this community, MsFitMondays.com. You know, like, I'm a misfit of society because, you know, I don't drink, I don't eat cooked food, I don't eat anything that's going to harm me in any way. I don't have any vices that are harmful to me besides social media. And so basically, everybody in my community is doing 100 squats for the month of October.
Nice.
I haven't done my 100 squats. It's almost 10 p.m. at night, and I haven't done them yet. And I'm just like, why did I put them off the whole day? So that's I was mentally weak today, Sherry. So just so you know, it's not nobody, not even David Goggins himself, is mentally tough every second of every day. And you will find that, yeah, of course I have clients that are mentally weak sometimes because they're humans. So, you know, the truth is that I remind them who they are, and I remind them what they can do and what they have done. So, Sherry, the real answer to that is I make all my clients write down everything they've accomplished in their life. And I make them look at it every day, because yes, it's going to be hard to make a smoothie instead of having those waffles or having that bacon and eggs that's so easy to buy, the bagel or pizza or whatever. It's going to be harder to, you know, prioritize and make that smoothie. But if you look at that list of the things you've accomplished in your life, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I've been through a divorce. Oh, wait a minute, I've been through my mom passing. Oh, wait a minute. I had to move all by myself. Like, I moved to another state by myself. Mm-hmm. Oh, I started a YouTube channel when I was terrified of being on camera. Oh, like, you know, these are examples of things that are very hard to do for me, right? So somebody else, they have their own list, and it doesn't matter what's on the list. It matters that it was hard, and you've done harder things than not eating something you don't want to eat. You've done harder things than what I'm going to ask you to do. So that's the truth. I remind people that what they've done.
Very true. And you got to celebrate those little wins, no matter how small they are. And that definitely helps people keep going. So you have to appreciate what you've been through in order to fully move forward. You know, if I didn't appreciate suffering through alcoholism and, you know, I just celebrated 10 years of my dirt bike injury where I broke both my
Oh,
femur.
I thought you were going to say sober.
No, like
oh, God.
10 years ago, I was in a horrible dirt bike accident. I broke both my legs, shattered my fib, broke my foot. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks, and that's kind of where my addiction became because I was at home. I was drinking all the time. I had prescription medications, Vicodins, Oxycontins, all this stuff, and I was just mixing a cocktail of stuff. And like, so it's been 10 years, and I appreciate what happened in order to get me to where I am today. So like you said, there's always been something harder that you've overcome, that what you're asking is not that much more difficult.
Yeah, like I know I'm going to be able to do 100 squats, even though it's 10 o'clock at night. You know, I've been up since, 6 in the morning. I've been on Zoom all day with people. I had a lot of errands to run. I know that I'm not going to want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a group. I have this accountability group that I've been doing for years. It's called DIAS, DIAS, and it stands for Do It Anyway, Son. I don't know why I came up with this. It's very silly, but like, do it anyway, son. I don't give a shit. We're going to do it anyway. So, like, that's how I run my life. It's just like, yeah, I don't always have to want to do it. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yep.
You guys
That's amazing.
made some really great points. And I mean, with it being the Canadian Thanksgiving, having those 5 things to be grateful for, especially this weekend as a Canadian. But what I would actually tell a weaker-minded client is, not only just embracing, your openness and willingness and to want to change, but embracing in the tools. I mean, I listen to aspiring writers and leaders such as Bob Proctor, even Napoleon Hill, and, sharing tools with them. And that's what actually, you have to be self-motivated and your willingness and wantingness to actually change. So, with the mind and body can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That's Napoleon Hill.
Like that.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Well,
Yes.
I appreciate it. We've almost hit an hour. We're getting there, but I want to say thank you. If you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, well, if anybody's interested in my course, it starts tomorrow, October 8th. And I have 2 spots left. I have a lot of emails to get to today, so I don't know what's going on in my email. I've been on Zoom a lot today, so I probably have a few people in there. But if you send me an email today, jd@MsFitVegan.com, or just DM me here on Instagram with the words "I am ready," and I'll send you all the details and the application to see if it's something for you. I really try to be very, very, very picky with who I let in the course because, like I said, I'm doing this because I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because I really, really want to help someone change. So I have to make sure that every single woman in the course is ready to change. If I just bring in any 10 people, like the first 10 people that apply, they might not be ready. They might just think that I'm going to be able to do it for them. They might not be committed. And then it's like, what am I doing here on earth if I'm not helping people with my gifts and talents? If I'm not helping people to overcome what I have overcome, then I've wasted my day, I've wasted my week, I've wasted my life. So I just want everyone to know that has applied that I have not accepted, that I have not gotten back to as of yet. It's because, in my opinion, you might not be ready yet. And that's okay too. You can do it on your own. All 3 of us, right? Did it on our own. We all broke our addictions on our own.
Time, energy, and effort is very valuable to
But,
us. So.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's very true. Time is the most valuable commodity on earth. So I cannot waste my time with somebody who's not ready. Sorry.
With your point on that too, is though, like, as me for a coach is like, I didn't get a coach. I didn't do anything. It's taken me a lot longer. If I were to go back and do it now, I could do it in a third of the amount of time because of what I've learned. So getting someone like you, myself, Dan, you're getting that experience. You're getting someone that's done it, that's been through it, that's overcome these type of addictions. So it's worth it because time is valuable and some people don't have time. Luckily, I had a little bit of time, so I took the time and I had a specific way. But now I have a coach. I have people helping me. I have a community. We have all that stuff for you guys if anybody is interested in wanting to make the next step to changing their ways.
Yes, and specifically, I'm looking for women. Like it's such a specific niche. a woman that has a food addiction that wants to go raw.
Yeah.
That's the other catch. Like if you come to my course, you need to want to be a raw vegan. Like, I don't want to have to convince anybody, because like, that's just not what I'm doing. What I'm doing in the course is helping you break your addiction to the foods that you don't want to eat. If you still want to eat those foods, if you still want to be able to go out and eat French fries and vegan chicken wings, then this is not the course for you. This is the course for somebody who's really serious, who wants to take their health seriously, and wants to do it before they have a life-threatening disease.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. And I
Thank you.
was super excited when I got with Sherry and in getting you on here, because when I found out that you'd never drank before, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like finding a unicorn. Like, it's unheard of. Like, you're a unicorn. It's amazing to see one in real life. So I appreciate you coming on. Like, keep it up. Like, I know you've got the willpower, the mindset that you won't ever have the desire to drink, but just keep doing what you're doing. Keep inspiring others. Show people it's okay to have a glass of water and a lime at a nightclub or a bar or any type of celebration. And that's the same thing we do. Water and a lime or a lemon is my favorite go-to drink at a restaurant or bar nowadays. So
I know we're ending, but let me just say one thing, because I didn't say it before.
Yeah.
I want people to know that I've been doing this for a long time, my whole life, not drinking. So like, and then especially being raw, it took a while for me to get the confidence to go up to a bartender and ask for an empty glass. You see, remember, don't forget, in the beginning, I would just order a Jack and Coke. I always ordered Jack and Coke. I don't know why. I just ordered it, and then I would, once, maybe like 3 or 4 times in my life, I would order it, I would stand there with it, and I would just be like, standing there. And nobody said anything, nobody's like, why aren't you drinking? They didn't care. People get drunk. They don't care what other people are doing. But then I graduated to, I used to order the Jack and Coke, and then I would go to the bathroom, dump it out, and I would have either a bottle of water or a juice with me, and I'd put that in there. So just so you guys know, and then I graduated to asking the bartender for an empty glass, because that's not something that's common, and they might be like, what's wrong with you? Or like, they might question you. It's just, I just wanted everyone to know that it took me a while to get the confidence to bring a juice to a bar.
Yep.
And by the way, I've been to like maybe 10 bars in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't hang out at bars, because what am I going to do there? Like, I don't drink, I don't eat that food. So, I mean, it's not a common place, but sometimes I've had to go for work or some celebration or something. Yeah, I just want to say that.
Yeah, no, and it definitely takes a lot of confidence, and you can help people with that. I can help people.
Yes.
We can all help because we've overcome that insecurity and built that confidence over time.
Yes.
So we definitely appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Great. And we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are awesome.
This is
Thanks
great.
for doing what you're doing. Thank you very much.
You too.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Happy Sober. Keep it up.
Happy
Dan, I'll see you next
Sober
week.
Saturday.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.